YouTube, so we're back. We're talking FF7. We're talking Rebirth. We got quite a bit today. We finally have something to talk about that's not just a random ass interview with the devs. As good as those can be sometimes, like it gets kind of repetitive. So they actually dropped the story so far trailer, like the kind of catching up on the remake story. It's nowhere near 17 minutes. It's like 5 minutes. So I guess that Korean forum post was not even remotely accurate. I haven't watched yet, so we're going to be doing kind of a little bit of a reaction video here, even though we probably know everything that's in this. But they also dropped other shit too. There's a bunch of screenshots. There's like a Square Enix blog post. We got like a really cool screenshot of Calm. They like talk about Kujata. I haven't even read that yet, or Kuyata, however you say the fucking thing's name. Also other stuff too, like more like combat related stuff, but also like new difficulty settings. Like there's a brand new difficulty setting that did not exist when it came to Remake. So pretty excited. But the story so far video, besides the length, is that it's narrated by Red 13, which is kind of cool. Giving my boy Red a little bit of something. Let's hop into it.
When there is so much to tell, where should I even start?
It's a damn good question, Red.
With all that we saw, what we heard, what we felt, this planet of ours, destiny, our part in it. Best to start at the beginning, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. This fucking scene, by the way, I've always loved this. This whole intro sequence, like, holy shit.
Electric power company, who drained the planet of its very essence, the life stream, and processed it for industry as Mako. Our world was dying, and so few could hear her cries for mercy.
Yeah.
Those who could rose up in her defense. The anti-Shinra rebels, Avalanche.
They're really good. They're coming like from the beginning. They're like taking it pretty slow too, right? They're giving us a lot from this whole beginning sequence, which is good. If you're trying to like recap the remake story for somebody.
To destroy Reactor 1. In Sector 8, amidst the aftermath of the attack, Cloud met a flower seller named Aerith. She offered him a yellow blossom. One said to symbolize reunion.
Oh, no way, right, Tifa? Come on.
And thus was destiny set in motion.
We're not gonna get into shipping stuff, but come on.
With Reactor 1 gone, Avalanche set their sights on Mako Reactor 5. Unfortunately, they were playing right into Shinra's hands. The company was able to draw the wool over the people's eyes. And in the end, destroyed Sector 7, killing thousands and laying the blame at Avalanche's feet. Though dear
That scene's good, dude. John Eric Bentley, that moment is crazy.
Aerith had struck a deal with Shinra, who took her into custody. With her capture, Shinra's obsession was within reach. The fabled Promised Land. For Aerith was the last of the Cetra, the ancient stewards of the planet.
Song like all that time ago looks the same. Womp womp.
To save her, the team infiltrated the Shinra building.
What a shot.
The company's beating heart.
Yeah.
It was here that I, another prisoner, joined their story and assisted them in freeing Aerith.
About where we at? No, I don't want to move the fucking mouse because it's gonna pop up all the bottom shit. Fuck it.
During our flight, we came face to face with a man thought dead. The vaunted war hero, Sephiroth. Before he could be stopped, Cloud's foe fled.
Show me the eyeball titty. Damn it.
Cataclysm from the stars and the catalyst of our plight.
Catalyst of our plight. Yeah, that's true.
We too made good our escape. Pursuing troopers defeated, we raced toward Midgar's edge.
Alright, I'll drink some more coffee.
Yet Sephiroth once again intervened.
Hot as fuck.
Suddenly, deafening screams rent the air. Whispers, the arbiters of fate, descended upon the city.
Oh, they didn't show Zack? What the fuck?
Before their imposing opposing wall, Aerith warned us.
And I got a thought about that.
This was destiny's crossroads. Every moment, every action, every step taken had all been as the Whispers willed it. To fight them was to break free. On the other side of fate, Sephiroth waited, the Whispers undulating within him. Cloud brought his blade down upon his rival, sundering destiny. Fight one.
Let's skip education, so.
Destiny broken. We stood before the unknown, a world of boundless freedom. It was there, beyond where fate could follow, that a new journey began.
So that was kind of cool for what it was. You know, it's just a recap of the remake story. There's nothing like super crazy that was going to be in this. They're not showing Zack. It's a little bit interesting. I've always taken that scene on the highway as like either nobody's seen it, like it's just for like the audience or some shit, or the players, or it's only like Aerith and Cloud seeing it, because that's what it seems to be whenever it happens. Like you see Cloud get the little vision headache thing, the blurring of the screen or whatever, the static, and then it shows the Zack scene, and when we come out of it, we're on Aerith at that point. So I've always taken it as either those two, or I guess technically nobody's seen it. And since Red 13 didn't mention it, though it's not important to the overall remake story recap, it's kind of weird. And then like the skipping to Edge of Creation also kind of makes sense too, because Red 13 wasn't a part of that. Like, he's recapping the story, but that was Cloud and Sephiroth. But when you're recapping the remake story, like that is a very important scene that obviously has a lot of questions, right? The Edge of Creation, the two different universes and shit, and Sephiroth wanting Cloud's help or whatever to break away from Destiny or whatever the fuck, right? Like, it's a very important scene. It's weird to like skip that in a story recap. But maybe they just don't want to spoil stuff. I don't know. And really the only thing we're talking about from this whole thing in terms of a conversation is like the ending. And I know it's repetitive. We talk about it a lot all the damn time about new shit happening with the story. But Red 13 mentions us breaking away from the shackles of destiny, going beyond where fate can follow, like a new journey, unknown journey, whatever. And it's like, I just don't know how you sell this shit and there's not new stuff, man. Like, how is it just FF7 going forward like you expect? Whenever they talk all the time about breaking away from destiny, fate can't follow them, unknown journey continues. And it's just like, I don't know, whatever. It's kind of a tired conversation at this point.
Cloud brought his blade down upon his rival, sundering destiny. And the shackles of destiny broken, before the unknown, a world of boundless freedom was there, beyond where fate could follow, that a new journey began.
I'll say that actually before we move on from this video, that it didn't have that like kind of recreated shot of Cloud like attacking Sephiroth in the Singularity from like the release date announcement trailer, right? Like that wasn't in the recap video. So I don't know if there is another video potentially or something, or if that was just done for the trailer, or if it's a scene that we'll see at some point within Rebirth. I don't know, but it just wasn't a part of this, which is weird. Anyways, let's hop into the other shit. So right here's a really, really good screenshot of Calm. Holy shit, does this not look fantastic, dude? I love the castle look, the like medieval fortress look to this, the long path in like the bottom left that goes up to the gate. When I first seen that, it reminded me of like the path you take when you're walking up to like Solitude in Skyrim. That's exactly the vibe I get from this. It just looks so damn good, man. The only other like sort of takeaway from this is in the very far distance towards like the ocean, you can see a structure. And I believe this is meant to be the lighthouse that we've seen from like the other trailers. I don't even know if it is a lighthouse, it's just kind of what we call it. But what's interesting is you can see there's a lot of like building next to the lighthouse itself, which from some of the other angles we've got of this structure, we just kind of couldn't tell that there was like a building with it or not much of a building. But according to this, when you zoom in on it, there's quite a bit. Calm, a housing hamlet kept safe from the outside world by a sturdy stone wall. Though it lacks a reactor of its own, it thrives thanks to a steady supply of Mako piped in from the metropolis of Midgar, which is visible from atop the town's famous clock tower. So that's a little bit interesting. I don't know if there's anything in the original Final Fantasy VII, like an NPC or something in Calm, that talks about them getting power for Midgar, but that's how they're doing it with the remake project, with the giant pipes that we've seen a lot outside of Midgar. So that's kind of cool. But the other thing that was kind of interesting from that for me was being able to see Midgar from the clock tower that's in Calm, and it makes me wonder if we're not going to actually be able to do that, like climb up there, get to the top of that clock tower, and be able to like take a look at Midgar or something, because it seems to be what they're kind of hinting at there, maybe. Mithril Mine, a once bustling mine that connects the grasslands with Junon. Though once prized for its rich mithril deposits, the quarry fell into disuse after Shinra developed a superior mineral of their own, and the miners that once worked at tunnels have been replaced with monsters. So again, another little interesting bit of lore there that I'm not sure if it exists in the original FF7. I don't even know if there is lore at all for Mithril Mine in the original FF7 outside of maybe like an Ultimania that would give you a little more in-depth look at it. But apparently this with the remake project, if it is new, they don't use it anymore because Shinra developed something I guess better than Mithril, which is kind of weird because I don't know what it would be, because like Mithril in like RPGs is often like a top tier ore, right? Like that's like some of the best weapons and armors and shit is Mithril, stuff like that. So I'm kind of curious what that is, if we're ever going to learn more about that in the game or something. Broden, owner and operator of the inn at Calm, he bears a grudge against Shinra and offers to help Cloud and friends escape their would-be corporate captors. His gaunt appearance may be due to his recent bout with an unknown illness. So there's a bit of a discussion for this guy on what the illness is on social media. The first thing I thought of was Mako poisoning. That seems to make the most sense. He has a grudge against Shinra. They use Mako. Maybe he previously worked for them or something. We know that Calm was destroyed by Shinra in the past. There's all kinds of history there, right? So it could be kind of anything. The other conversation is geostigma, which I don't know if that ever existed prior to Advent Children. As far as I'm aware, like it's because of the ending of FF7 and like Genova and Sephiroth and the planet livestream, Tainted livestream, all that other stuff, that people get infected with geostigma. But maybe it's always kind of been there because Genova's been around for a very long time. So maybe this is kind of like the first case of geostigma, kind of early in the FF7 story. I don't know. Now think about it, there is a bit of a tease of geostigma in Remake where Cloud's like on that bridge, I think, talking to Sephiroth in the Shinra building, and like grabs his left arm, which is where he gets the geostigma in Advent Children. So maybe they've kind of always been teasing geostigma a little bit earlier in the story. I guess technically it's years earlier, but still. Rhonda, mayor and sheriff of Under Junon, her home, once a prosperous fishing village, fell into decline after Shinra constructed a military fortress overhead and a deep-sea Mako reactor offshore. Despite Cloud and friends' status as alleged terrorists, Rhonda still allows them to pass through her town. Priscilla, a cheerful young girl who lives in Under Junon, often seen swimming with the dolphin she trains. The offshore Mako reactor has contaminated the surrounding waters, and Priscilla fears for the safety of her dolphin friend and other aquatic creatures. So I kind of have a couple questions regarding that, because like, did they talk about the reactor polluting the water, but did it just start doing that? Is the reactor new? Has it always been polluting the water? Has she always been swimming in polluted water? I'm also kind of curious what our group's going to do about that, because obviously coming out of Midgar, we destroyed a lot of reactors. Now, we might not be trying to do that going through the FF7 story, but it'd be kind of weird for us, the heroes, to know that the reactor is polluting and destroying like the ecosystem in the ocean. And we're just like, we'll ignore that. So like, I don't know if are we going to do something about the underwater reactor this time or what? Kind of interesting. Billy, grandson of Bill, owner of a chocobo ranch in the grasslands. Having lost his parents at a young age, he and his sister were raised by their grandfather. This young ranch hand kindly offers to teach Cloud and company the ropes of chocobo wrangling on the condition that they patronize his sister's shop. Chloe, Billy's younger sister, she runs a shop on the ranch where she sells crafted materials and other curios. Warm and kind-hearted, she engages politely with Cloud and company and is grateful for their patronage. At the same time, she's worried about her brother's fixation on making money. Why is she mad that he's a paper chaser, bro? Red 13 basic attacks. Red 13 slashes at foes with his sharp claws. Hold down the button to unleash a wide-range attack that helps it build ATB quickly. Red 13 abilities. Red 13 boasts a vast array of skills from lightning-fast physical strikes to ranged magical attacks. Stardust Ray conjures an exploding orb of light that scorches all foes caught in the blast. So we're going to try to speed through like the combat stuff unless there's something to talk about, but I do want to stop there for a second because it seems like Stardust Ray might just be like a regular ability for Red 13 as opposed to a limit break like it was in the original FF7. Kind of similar to like Braver for Cloud in Remake as well. But I always thought it was maybe a limit break because we see him using it at the end of Remake alongside Barrett when they're attacking the Harbinger, because Barrett's using like Fire in the Hole or whatever, one of his limit breaks, and he's using Stardust Ray. And maybe it is a limit break potentially, but I feel like that is specified it here in the article, so I don't know. So Red 13 Vengeance Mode, unique ability. Block incoming attacks to fill the Vengeance gauge and unleash that energy to enter Vengeance Mode, enhancing his physical attacks and his evasive prowess. Siphon Fang delivers a powerful blow while absorbing some of the enemy's HP, all without expending ATB. Aerith Ward Shift unique ability. Aerith can instantaneously warp to any sigil she has created, allowing her to move about the field with ease and maximize the impact of her magic. Synergy abilities are powerful attacks in which two characters team up to turn the tide of battle. More abilities will unlock as you increase the party level, a numerical expression of how closely knit your team is, and deepen the affinity between party members. Fill the synergy gauge by using abilities, then unleash a synchronized assault. Here are some more examples. Cloud Tifa Relentless Rush. Cloud launches Tifa toward an enemy to attack in tandem. We'll pause there just for a second because I wonder if they didn't do this synergy attack because of the fans, because there was that early gameplay with the Abzu boss fight where there's a moment where it looked like Cloud like threw Tifa off the Buster Sword, and back then we were wondering if there was team attacks, and obviously there wasn't when it came to Remake, but I wonder if they didn't specifically do this. I think he like grabs Tifa by the arm or something and throws her. I think we've seen it in like the Bottom Swell gameplay. I can't remember what his name is for Rebirth. But I wonder if they didn't just do that though, like a version of that, of like Cloud launching Tifa at the enemies because of like what the fans thought was happening, in like 2019. Barrett Red 13 Overfang. Barrett sends Red 13 flying toward an enemy at high velocity. So that sounds kind of similar. Synergy skills. Two party members can team up to activate useful abilities without consuming ATB. These commands can be executed while blocking and provide a wide array of beneficial effects. Each pair has their own unique set of abilities. Some deal damage while others offer support. Here are some examples. Cloud, Aerith, Spellblade, gather strength, then team up to unleash a charged magical attack. Barret, Cloud, Mad Dash team up to charge forward while guarding against incoming attacks. Activate in sequence to trigger a 3-hit combo. Kujata, a bovine deity that charges around the battlefield wielding the powers of fire, ice, and lightning. It throws foes with its enormous horns and unleashes magical attacks that strike even distant enemies' weaknesses. Kujata bounds towards foes with reckless abandon and manipulates its elemental affinities to deliver magical attacks. Blazing Horn launches a concentrated burst of fiery energy at an enemy, blasting them back. Kujata unleashes Tri-Disaster just before leaving the battlefield, a powerful wide-range attack imbued with the powers of fire, ice, and lightning, sure to hit many foes right where it hurts and potentially wipe them out. So a big question I have about the Kujata summon when it comes to Rebirth is if it's going to be similar to the original FF7, because it does that Tri-Disaster attack when it leaves, which is what the summon kind of did in the original FF7, because it's doing multiple elements, if an enemy in the original FF7 was either immune or absorbed either fire, ice, or lightning, it would just like negate the whole attack, right? Or heal them or whatever. Like it wouldn't do any damage at all. And I'm wondering if that's going to be the same here. Because it's leaving the battlefield, hitting multiple different elements, like that seems like it could be kind of bad potentially. If it's going to like heal an enemy or just not do any damage at all. Proto-relics. Proto-relics are artifacts of unknown origin that emit a unique energy signal. These elusive antiquities are hidden throughout the world, but with the aid of activated Rimna wave towers, Chadley should be able to point you in their direction. Be warned, however, they seem to alter space-time and are known to cause strange phenomena. So look, obviously this is like side content stuff unless there's like a main story quest that makes you kind of do the first one, go find the first photo relic or whatever, but it's obviously side stuff. But the point is, that last bit there, we get teases every so often, just little things of like space-time, time travel sort of sounding things, right? Timeline stuff sort of shit. And that's kind of what this is, right? Talking about like space-time and shit and strange phenomena. And it might explain why Butch and everybody's there. I thought it was weird when we did I talked about the mini games from at some point. I don't remember what it was. Maybe TGS or something. I think at the end of the TGS live stream, they had like a quick little minigame video, and it showed us like fighting Butch and everybody, and I was like, that's kind of weird, why are they here? But if there's like space-time and strange phenomena, might be pulling them from like a different place, like pulling them from Midgard, the slums or whatever, putting them there for us to fight. I don't know. So going on to like combat styles and difficulty levels, this first bit we don't even need to read, but they're having classic mode and active mode back, of course. Not really a surprise. This is where things get a bit more interesting. Easy difficulty allows people to focus on the story rather than battles, while normal provides a reasonable challenge for most players. In the newly added dynamic difficulty, enemies grow stronger as your characters do. Perfect for players who crave constant challenge. So kind of like a hard mode, sort of, that you can play from the beginning, right? The enemies are going to scale with you, so the game's just going to get harder technically as you go. Kind of cool, man, because people wanted a hard mode. I don't think hard mode is feasible from the beginning. Like, if you're starting, like, at the beginning of the game, level 20, with not leveled up materia, not leveled up characters, no weapon cores progressed and all that other shit, I don't know if you could do it, especially with no items and shit like that, too, right? And, like, the lack of, like, healing would be kind of complicating. But this is, like, a nice middle ground until you beat the game and then unlock hard mode and get to play through it again with hard mode. Pretty cool, man. It's actually something I sort of, in a way, kind of called a little bit. Whenever we go back to, like, the talk of people want a progression to carry over from the first game to the second game, I mentioned several times, like, the only way that really works is if the enemies scale with you, because they're not going to let you, like, start the game, like, level 50 with, like, level 5 or 10 enemies or whatever. We know now the enemies probably going to be, like, level 20 or something, because that's what your characters start at, but still, they weren't going to let you do that. And they did introduce a level scaling thing for the enemies in a certain way, with a certain difficulty and shit. And lastly, quite surprisingly, they dropped this on us. They recreated the classic Aerith key art, where she's, like, looking at the Highwind, which is a little bit surprising because they've already given us a very similar key art for Aerith, but like kind of everything's different about it, like the terrain around her and obviously no Highwind. So it's kind of interesting that they went the route of recreating this. And the other obvious great thing about this key art is it's our first real fucking good look at the Highwind, my dudes, and it is looking damn good. But continuing on from this though, and we're going to throw the tinfoil hat on for the rest of this conversation here, I don't see what the point is in recreating this unless she's actually going to get to ride the Highwind, which she couldn't do in the original. Like, that's why the key art was always kind of weird. You could say that with the key art, she was seeing the Highwind when we first went to Junon, of course, but she never got to actually ride the Highwind. She's dead before we ever get our hands on it. Is this maybe, tinfoil hat, placed on, is she actually going to get to ride the Highwind this time, which means her surviving? Because again, I don't see the point of like recreating this, except for maybe, I guess, fan service. She's not going to get to actually ride the Highwind. Seems kind of weird. But at the same time, you can kind of question like the canon nature of key art in general, so it's like it's not a big deal. I just wanted to mention that just in case. Anyways, the video is kind of long enough. There's other things to talk about. There's a couple interviews that came out today with little interesting bits, but this video is pretty damn long. We don't do 20+ minute videos very often, so we're going to kind of wrap it up. Probably look at those tomorrow unless something else more interesting comes out tomorrow to talk about. Anyways, that's the video, my dudes. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Social networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, YT. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Logain, or leave it like Cobain.